Welcome back to another episode from the Debate Room podcast. This is episode 144. We're going to be recapping Game 7 of the Clippers and Nuggets series, predicting the second round of the playoffs, basically, and just get into all the the stuff that happened in the last few days in the playoff game. Before we get started, make sure you guys like the video, share the video, and follow us on our social media platforms up at the top of the screen. KD is back for another episode. He always brings the fireworks when he comes on the show.
What's that mean, bro? What's that mean?
The best takes.
Yeah, their takes for sure. But obviously, Max, he's more available now that he's out of school. So I'll let us see that. I got finals this week, so I'm almost done with this year, finally. But the playoffs have been amazing so far. We can't really ask much more. I think. Well, it was definitely.
I don't think they've been amazing. I can't lie. I don't think they've been amazing.
Why? Why hasn't it been amazing?
A lot of uncompetitive series.
Yeah. I think we've had 4 very uncompetitive series.
Yeah.
What for?
OKC, Cleveland,
2 out
Boston.
East and the 2 out West.
OKC, Cleveland, Boston, Minnesota for that matter.
That series was 5, but 4. I think 4 of the games came down to the.
I understand, but I agree. I was wrong on that series. Indy was the better team the whole time. The Knicks and Pistons series carried the playoffs so far for me.
Yeah, the fact that series was good is crazy. I had Milwaukee going. I had Indy winning in 7, but didn't either.
That series was just fun. It was uncompetitive, but it was fun just because of the beef, bro.
And I guess, but there was better beef with Detroit and New York because both teams won games. Like Milwaukee only got 1 game. You can't talk that much shit.
True,
even that, like this Clippers Denver series had a lot of blowouts. Like I want to say 3, maybe 4 of the 7 games were blowouts. Including this one.
It started off really well. It started off really good, especially
Game 1 was fire. Game 1 was fire. Game 2.
All right, let's talk about this Clippers and Nuggets series. The Clippers stumped them out in Game 7, put belt to ass, all that type of stuff. I think we all might have had. Well, we all had the Clippers in 6. I
thought I had 7. I thought I had 7. Maybe you go back.
I think you picked the Nuggets.
I had Clippers in 6. I didn't.
Did I have
if it went to 7? I never would have took Clippers in 7. There's James Harden in Game 7 in Denver. There's no way. Right.
I had to go in 7.
Max, I think you had Nuggets in 7.
I don't know. Maybe. I thought I had LA in 7, but maybe I'm wrong.
No, actually, you may have had.
I think it's at LA in 7. I'm pretty sure I had to go in 7 though. But
I picked the Clippers to win the series because I feel like they were the better team. I feel like they had a better defense. Their offense, with Kawhi in with it, the last 20 games or so, they were really good. And I feel like they were a deeper team. I feel like they had a better coach because Ty Lue, by default, was a better coach, and he's also a great coach. And Denver looked like they were real into end of year. So I really feel like they were going to win a series. They had one of the best Jokic defenders in the NBA, and Zubac, who did a great job on Jokic the whole series.
He did do a good job.
He did a great job. Like, this was, bro, I think when you put this in perspective for the Clippers, it's going to be so damning because the whole year went as well as you could have expected it to. Your whole plan was to sit Kawhi for this. Your whole plan was to sit Kawhi for the beginning of the year, have him ramp up in like January, and then get into his flow going into the playoffs. And that's what happened. They were able to tread water all year, stay around the 6th seed all year with James Harden playing some of the best basketball of his career as of late. Norman Powell playing some of the best basketball of his career.
Despite some people having them as a 12 and 13 seed. Just got to throw that out there.
Yeah, people did underestimate them. Norman Powell was having one of the best years of his career. Zubac was damn near an all-NBA player this year. And when Kawhi came back, they went 18-3 to close the year. They were definitely one of the best teams in the West. And then you go into a series against the Denver Nuggets, who you match up really well with. They don't have a coach. Jokic has one of his worst offensive series ever, and you still lose. So, like, the Clippers, they're never getting there. That's the real takeaway from the series. They're not ever getting there under this like with Kawhi and James Harden, they're never getting there. This was their best chance to make a run, and they lost in Game 7, and they got blew out by a lot. So that was my main takeaway. When you really like look at the whole season from that view, it's really like it makes it even worse because you took the Nuggets to 7 games or whatever, but considering that Kawhi is getting older, James Harden is getting older, and he has only 1 more year left on his deal. It was a pretty damning loss. It's a gut wrenching loss. But what are you guys' takeaway on the series, especially since we all picked the Clippers to win it?
Katie, you go first because I got something to say after.
Yeah. I mean, I thought I also took the Clippers. I just thought they were the better team. They have a way better defense, and I think that was really kind of the big thing for me. On top of just having one of the best Jokic defenders in the NBA statistically. And I still think they could have won this series. Like, it came down to a few plays and a few close games that they just didn't come away with. And I think a lot of that, unfortunately, is due to coaching. Ty Lue did in my opinion, way too much experimenting this series and, like, not enough of just making the hard calls, the hard decisions. Like, if Norman Powell doesn't have it going, which he did not in Game 1, you got to bench him for size. They were getting killed. Game 1 was the Clippers led in Game 1 for like 80% of the game, and they just lost it in the fourth because they got killed on the offensive glass, which that's not shocking when you have Harden, Norman Powell, and Chris Dunn out there. You're going to get killed on the offensive glass, but Norman Powell's not giving you anything. Take him out for Nick Batum, who Nick Batum was a big part of you winning game 6. And so it's like, it's clear in hindsight that was like, you should have closed with him. This game, they started Derrick Jones Jr. the first half, which I don't know what the thought process was behind that. And it was clear from the start that Denver was fine with Derrick Jones Jr. taking shots. They were okay with him taking threes. They were okay with him driving and missing layups. The choice to start him this game didn't really make a ton of sense to me. Like, at least Chris Dunn is like, offensively, his shot, might be suspect, but he can dribble and play make to some degree. Derrick Jones Jr. can't do any of that. So it's like, if his shot's not falling, and you just got to take him out. Like, I understand defensively, the reasoning. You can shut down a lot of the Jamal Murray and Aaron Gordon actions, but it's still, for me, is just, I feel like Ty Lue did not coach a good series. I think this was probably winnable if Ty Lue was better. Also think it was winnable if Kawhi was more consistent. Like, people will point to that Game 2 where he just was a monster, but the other games he was kind of underwhelming. Game 1, which was close that they lost, Kawhi was underwhelming. So it's like, I feel like if Kawhi was more consistent, they probably could have won this series. And James Harden, not going to rip on him too much. He has his bad games. You just kind of got to expect it. But at the end of the day, he's not – it's like people have this idea of James Harden like still being a superstar or even being paid like a star. He's only making like $33 million. Like, he's making high-end role player money. Like, that's like Jaden McDaniels type of money. He's not making star-level money. So it's, he doesn't have to live up to those expectations. That's the reality. Like, the reality is you need to perform to what your contract dictates. And
or both.
Did that. Yeah. Unless there's kind of if your contract is clearly like you're playing well above it, like Austin Reeves obviously is not like a $13 million player. Like, you have certain level of expectations, but for James Harden, like, the expectation, he did not get the bigger contract because there was this understanding that he's not the same player. So for me, that's why I can't really harp on him as much.
I'm pretty sure I chose the Clippers. I don't even remember right now. I just know I had this going 7. I thought it would be a tight series. But to be honest, the only reason I gave Denver kind of the respect was because of Nikola Jokic. I feel like a lot of the key Denver role players this year were very, very streaky, to say the least. And they had no head coach going into this. I think he coached 4 NBA games going into the series. Obviously, none of it mattered. They won the series. Jokic is, again, the best player in the NBA and elevates his team, I think, more than 99% of the league. And I think overall, like, he is able to take this very mediocre, what it seems like, roster to beat a team like LA. LA is kind of the story of this for me. Obviously, regardless of what happens, this Denver team could lose, again, 99% of their players. As long as they have Nikola Jokic, whatever team they build around will somehow get to the point where it's competitive. Jokic will put this team up to a point where they could fight for a playoff spot or whatever. They don't really need to worry about that. The Clippers moving forward, I think, is a huge, huge question mark. With the when is James Harden going to fall off officially and just retire, get out, whatever? When is Kawhi Leonard going to finally hang it up? But you had the emergence of Ivica Zubac this year. Zubac was very, very good this year. Second and most improved player this year. He showed signs, I feel like, in years past of potential and just being a good center, but being regarded as a borderline top 10 center, top 7 center for some people in this day and age in the NBA is pretty valuable. And I think you got to kind of, I won't say capitalize on that, but that's not something that's going to really be forgotten about. So this team, if you find pieces or you can get healthy, could be fun, but the Clippers are the Clippers right now. And this series, I thought they had the defensive versatility. I thought they had the depth on this team to beat a team like Denver, who does not seem like they have any depth at all and is really just riding on the back of Nikola Jokic. And yeah, I think this is a very, very tough loss for the Clippers when you got the season you did out of Harden, when you got the season you did out of Zubac, and you had healthy Kawhi coming into this year. Norman Powell, again, like you guys talked about, played well this year at times before he got injured. Bogdanovich was a good bench piece. You had good defensive versatility with Chris Dunn, Derrick Jones Jr. Like this team, do I think it was going to win a ring? No, but they were fun and they could have won a playoff series. So I think that Denver, this is just playing on house money at this point in time. I don't think Denver is really at a point where their expectations are so high just because they have Jokic, though. You kind of have to put it there. But Jokic will be there next year, I assume, in the year following. And whatever team you put around him is fine. The Clippers, on the other hand, this I think is a big, big mistake and a big setback for them. And I think you're looking at a potential overhaul. And I guess if they don't do it, that's an even bigger mistake. They got to know when to cut their losses and just restart this and capitalize on the value they have before Harden is officially too old and Kawhi is retired and everything else. My question, I have one question. It was so with the emergence of Zubac, where Harden is right now, where Kawhi is right now, with the pieces they have. If you know Steve Ballmer and Steve Ballmer wants to stay competitive, what steps can you take if you are the GM to keep this team in a playoff position or try your ass off to try and make this team better or more competitive than what it was this year?
They're going to be in the playoffs next year again, as long as like they're
you roll out the same team. You just roll out the same team, nothing else.
I got to see what their cap sheet looks like. I think
that's what I'm saying.
They might only sign Derrick Jones Jr. to a
I thought it was a 1-year deal.
A 1-year deal. The problem with this team is Derrick Jones Jr. can't shoot, Chris Dunn can't shoot, and those are two of their best perimeter defenders. So both perimeter defenders can be ignored offensively. That's the issue. Batum is one of their best role players, but over the course of
Kawhi, Harden, like they need a Max Strus kind of guy, Ty Jerome kind of guy, but
they need a 3-and-D guy, like actual 3-and-D guy. Like Chris Dunn is not 3-and-D, is not 3-and-D. Nicholas Batum is 3-and-D.
I guess any team could get a 3-and-D guy. You know what I mean? Any team needs that.
Backup center because Ben Simmons is troll as a backup center. Like Norman Powell, when he's on, he's good, but he's terrible defensively. So when he's not hitting shots, he's completely useless. Bogey, he can get hot as well, but again, you can't play him defensively. Kawhi is very limited as a playmaker. So teams are going to just send doubles at him and force Harden and the rest of the squad to beat them. And I don't think the Clippers have great processors on their team. Like Harden, great processor. Zubac is really good out the short roll, but when he's throwing the ball to people out the short roll and to the corners, and to cut people, if they're not hitting threes, it don't really matter. You're just getting the Clippers away from their offense. They want to ISO with Kawhi. They want to run pick and roll. That's really what they want to do, like with their offense. If you're doubling Kawhi, if you're doubling Harden and getting Zubac to be the playmaker in the short roll, he can't make the requisite reads. They don't have the talent to make teams pay for that. Derrick Jones Jr., he can't hit threes, but he can cut and be a vertical spacer. I'll give him that. But Dunn, he can't make threes or be a vertical spacer. And when he was cutting, he was missing layups, get them blocked at the rim, all that type of stuff. So it's hard to find like the type of player they need. An actual 3-and-D player that can knock down threes and defend at the point of attack. So I don't really think they have many routes to get better. They're a really good team. They just need Kawhi. They needed Kawhi to step up more than he did in the series. They needed James Harden to step up a lot more than he did in the series. They needed Ty Lue to have a better coaching performance than he did in the series. And to damn near get out coached by David Adelman is nuts. I'm not gonna lie. Like Broden had a job. Like obviously he was an assistant.
I was just saying it's Jokic, so it's like.
I mean, does he get the job now? You win one series, does he get the job like that?
Yes. I think they were already going to give him the job.
Like same thing with Memphis. Like they already knew they were going to hire him, kind of thing.
Yeah.